Are you someone who is an executive, a founder, a leader in your community, and you've worked with different health coaches or programs trying to figure out the best strategy for you, but it always seems to fail? Well, this is probably not because you're not someone who's going to show up and work hard and do the things. It's because most programs in the wellness industry are built on a lot of things that don't fit into your life because your schedule is unpredictable. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, the podcast where we debunk the eat less, move more, shrink more mentality and focus on what really matters, which includes your relationship with your body, food, self-worth, and the behaviors that align with all of those. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. At the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, we believe what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. So let's have a conversation about that. Before we get into today's amazing episode, I want to make sure you've hit that follow button wherever you're listening to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. Also, if you like to listen to this pod on the go, make sure you have those downloads turned on. As always, I love a 5-star rating and review, and I want to thank you for your continued support. Now, let's get into the episode. Welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. I'm so excited you took this time out for yourself to learn something about your physical and mental health. I am glad you're here. And today, I am talking to my leaders, my founders, executives, people in the medical field, people in even government. Their schedules are not 9 to 5. Their schedules have a high level of unpredictability. And for them, they're also very aware of how their lifestyles affect their health. They could be someone who is starting to see changes in their body composition or their energy levels, or ultimately they've always been someone to want to take care of themselves. But now as they move up in whatever career field they're in, they're noticing that what used to work, the plans that they could execute when they had more consistency just aren't working anymore. Now, in this episode, I am going to be talking to people who have access to a lot of resources. And I want to say that out loud. I am not unaware of the fact that what we're going to talk about today and some of the aspects of it are not available to all people. And I wanted to say that up front because I still think there are things that you can learn from this podcast. But as I've gotten into my career, I have just naturally attracted individuals who are leaders in their communities. They're entrepreneurs or founders of businesses. I work with people in tech, finance, medicine, government, law, even scientists. And what I've learned is that for these individuals, because their schedules are not so clear cut, they really struggle, especially because they don't know where they're going to be. They know where they're going to be, but where they actually are at is so different every single couple days of the week. And for me as a coach and the fact that I do everything custom to these individuals, I'm actually creating a program to help individuals in these positions. So this podcast is going to be talking about things that, again, I understand that not everyone has access to. However, I ask you to stay on to listen because I'm going to teach you things that I think you can implement into your day-to-day life. So most of the wellness programs that you have signed up for, maybe you've hired a coach, maybe you've gone on like a 12-week program, they've usually been built for someone, as I mentioned, who has a predictable schedule, right? Someone who wakes up around the same time, someone who eats meals relatively in the same place or places, someone who sleeps in the same bed, has access to the same gym, and their calendar can relatively fit into a standard calendar without a lot of spillover. But for the individuals I'm talking about, those individuals who are in sales and marketing, travel for work, are leaders in their communities or in their vocation, that's not the truth for them. Their lives look like this. They wake up at 4 a.m. to catch a flight to New York City. They have 3 back-to-back meetings, get to their hotel room, check in, refresh, go to the client dinner that lasts until 10 p.m. They have to sleep in a bed that is not their own. They don't get good amount of sleep, but because they had to wake up at 4 the day before, they didn't get their workout in. So now they're trying to get a workout in and they don't have any idea of how to execute it in what they have provided for themselves. Then come Thursday, they're in a completely different time zone, and they get home Friday, they're completely exhausted. They have a day and a half to reset, and they're back on a flight on Sunday evening, right? And every Monday feels like a failure because you actually don't even know where Monday starts. And for wellness programs that are built on staying consistent, you're going to feel like you failed, because those programs obviously are not designed for your life. So this episode is to really explain why wellness programs have not been designed for those individuals who have unique calendars, and what actually works when your calendar refuses to cooperate. So I'd already mentioned, the clientele that I have naturally just collected and connected with are leaders, founders, partners, executives. And what's interesting about that is I think the reason why my business has attracted these individuals is because in order to do the work that we do here, there is a level of emotional maturity that is required. The individuals who are looking for the quick fixes, they are not attracted to me. Just in my marketing alone, I'm not showing you like a side-by-side where I'm like, comment fat loss for my secret of how I lost X amount of weight. That's not who I am. That's not how I roll. I roll in the way that what I say is what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. And I think for even you, my listener, the person who's listening, you realize that there's, in regards to health and wellness, there is layers to it. And you now understand one of the major layers is your mindset. Okay. And with that comes a level of education and knowledge and experience in life. And naturally, as I mentioned, I have attracted these types of clients for myself. And these are people whose schedules look less like a work week and more like an air traffic control map. They are all over the place. These are people who haven't had a normal Sunday in years, because Sunday they're at home with their family half the day and then they're on a plane going somewhere else, right? They're people whose assistants know, because they've traveled so much, exactly what hotels they like to stay in, what are their meals on the plane because they're on the plane so much, what are the dinner restaurants around them, so on and so forth. And in regards to wellness culture, like how we are promoting health routines, they're oftentimes selling you that idea of discipline, routine, and consistency. Now, I believe that there is a need for all of those things. But again, the person with a more predictable schedule, that pattern works really beautifully for them. But if your schedule is unstable, right, that 12-week program isn't going to work for you. Right? It works for the person who is in their same bed 7 days a week, who can meal prep on Sundays, who has access to the same gym equipment. That works for that person. But it's not going to land with you, because the problem is it's not your life. That's, the issue. This is who you are. You have built your life to be where you're at. It's the fact that the program isn't working for you because there's no level of customization. And there's no understanding of your reality. It's very interesting when I get executives that come to me for even the first couple months, because it's almost like they feel they need to tell me how busy they are. And I listen, of course, but I also am like, I understand, like, I get it. I get the reality of your life, and I get it pretty quickly. Now, each individual is different, right? Whereas my finance clients who are all over the world are traveling literally all over the world, where I have executive clients who might just be traveling in the States. And my approach to those two people are going to be very different, right? The problem, though, is the delivery model, right? The delivery model, the wellness industry oftentimes creates a one-size-fits-all model around what it is to help people feel healthy, well, help them lose weight, whatever that is. There are a few, like Ben Brown. I interviewed him a few months ago. He and I are very similar in building customized programs for the clients that we take care of, right? And The wellness industry, beyond Ben and myself, I'm sure there's others out there, has built a model that collides with a lot of individuals who are in high level positions. And the person who ends up hurting from that collision is the client, right? Is the executive. So I want to walk you through 4 assumptions that our standard wellness programs tend to make and why none of them tend to hold up in your life, the executive. And honestly, I think these assumptions can also be used for my client who does have more of a consistent routine, but thinking about when they need to be flexible. Okay. So the first assumption that these wellness programs discuss is like you have control over your time. Most programs are built around the idea that you can carve out an hour of your work week or your hour of your day to get a workout in, that you can carve out, a couple of hours to meal prep on like a Sunday, that you have a consistent bedtime routine. That assumption also decides like that you're in charge of your calendar. And for a lot of my executives, they are not in charge of their calendar. Their assistant is in charge of their calendar, right? What goes on it? What doesn't go on it? Your time isn't your own. Your assistant is the one who is, putting the meetings on your schedule, and your board, your assistant puts the things on the schedule. Your board runs your meetings. Your client runs the travel or the meals out, right? And this whole idea of like making time for yourself is a sentence that doesn't translate to a CEO with a $5 billion company, right? That they're running, or a founder closing a Series B. It just doesn't work that way. And I hear this all of the time because not only are these my clients, but these are my colleagues. I'm in networks of women who are at this place, and they are thinking about wanting to be healthy, but they associate what that looks like with this assumption, like that I'm in charge of my time, when really they're not. I mean, I work around some brilliant women and men, but this is not their reality is their time is not their own. And that can be true for you. Again, if you're not in a leadership, I don't want to say leadership, you're in a leadership position of your life, but you get what I'm saying, or maybe you're not an executive who's working, but maybe you're not in charge of your time because you have a newborn, right? Or you're starting a new company. Like, think about it this way, guys, because this can be adapted to anyone. The second assumption is about your environment. Most programs, again, assume you're cooking your food at your house, you're sleeping in your own bed, that your kitchen will always be stocked, right? And that your training environment will be controlled. But for an executive, none of this is true. None of this holds. You're eating what's served at the conference. And can we do better, guys? Can we do better at conference meals? Some of the shit I hear, I'm like, are we trying to put people to sleep? Because they'll feed them like fried food or like gross shit, and then they'll bring out the sweets bar, and I'm like, come on, it's ridiculous. Then we're sleeping in a room in a bed that is not our own. I just got back from a conference, and I slept terribly. It's the low quality of sheets, or even just the bleach that they use for those sheets. Even if I'm at a higher quality or a 5-star hotel, it depends on how they sanitize the sheets, which I obviously want them sanitized, but my skin doesn't like it, right? And we can't control the noise. We can't control the comfort level of the beds, right? Now, again, for a lot of my executives, they know where they like to stay because they've learned what is at least at a level of comfort they can tolerate, but it's not always their choice either. So we'll talk about that here in a sec. But also, like, you're training in a hotel gym where there's 2 cardio machines and like 2 sets of 15-pound weights. And you're just like, what the hell do I do with this, right? The environment is not in our control. And that's just to mention a few things, right? I think about long business class flights. I'm on an airplane for 23 hours. There's not a lot I can do there. I can't control that environment. But this is where I come in, but we'll talk about that later. The third assumption is that your weekends and evenings are for recovery. Most programs build in rest days, as they should. They build in recovery time. They build in downtime. They assume that when work ends, life begins, and you have hours to refill your cup. Again, for my executives, this line doesn't exist. It does not exist. And they will spend Tuesday night at a stakeholder dinner. Wednesday, they're at a charity event. Friday night, they're going out because of their board is having a happy hour. And Saturday, they have a charity walk. And then Sunday, they're back on a flight somewhere else. Right? And they're always on. Are you tired of wasting your money on diet and exercise program that leave you feeling pretty much the same? You're spinning your wheels, but the food noise is still there, the body dysmorphia, the overtraining and not seeing results, the emotional eating, it's all still there. But you don't think you have an option because they're pretty much all the same. What if the next program you invest in combines therapeutic practice with exercise and nutrition science and behavioral change? What if this program focuses on what you say in your mind so that you can have a better relationship on what you see in the mirror? Hi, I'm Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I'm the founder of the Mindset of Matter coaching program. Here, we see your mind, your body, and your identity as one integrated system and treat it as such. We focus on your self-defeating beliefs and understand how they impact your behaviors and thus the outcomes that you feel stuck in. We do this through the Mindset Method, my psychological curriculum that I've curated with over 15 years experience and adapted it to you, the average woman, and this coaching program. This is one method, one program, one coach, and let's face it, the one area you've probably never done the work on. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels and wasting your money, check out the link below for more information. Some of these things sound fun to a lot of people. And as someone who has traveled for work and had to be on, basically, like I would go see my clients at their office or at the office during the day. And during that time, we would go over their analytics and everything. And then at night, we would take them out to eat. And I worked in a male-dominated industry. So these guys want to eat steak, they want to smoke cigars, they want to drink bourbon, and they want to stay out late. And I would be up until 10, sometimes 1 and 2 in the morning. Like, it was crazy. And I was really successful at my job, right? But my time was not, when I was doing that job, my recovery and my downtime was not up to me. And there was a lot of driving in it. And I wasn't even an executive, right? For some of my executives, luckily they have drivers, thank God. One less thing to worry about. But recovery isn't a scheduled activity for a lot of these people. It's literally a luxury, and oftentimes it gets sacrificed first. And the fourth assumption is something that is most important. A lot of wellness programs assume that you have the decision-making bandwidth at the end of the day. They assume you'll choose the right meal. They'll assume that you will decide between the best options. They'll assume that you'll choose the fruit when temptation comes up. But if you're an executive, you've made 200 decisions before noon, right? Your bandwidth is gone by 6 p.m. And I talk about this. I talked about this in the planning episode of like, you're assuming that you're creating false confidence in future you that you're going to make the best decision, right? And at 6 p.m., you're not going to choose the salmon over what looks like a buttery, thick, juicy piece of steak that looks really comforting and really delicious. And my body wants that, right? You're picking what takes the least amount of effort. In your brain, you know, if I eat that steak, I'm going to feel great. It's going to be amazing. Again, you're picking whatever requires the least amount of thought. And every wellness program is built on these 4 assumptions. Every one of them it really just puts a lot of pressure on the individuals in these types of vocations to try to fit this square peg in a round hole. And again, it's at the expense of the client. But what they do, we end up hiring the coach, signing up for the program, downloading the app, and we don't stick to it. Right? The answer isn't that you need more discipline. You're disciplined as hell and you're very smart. If I tell you what to do, you're going to do it. You're going to not only do it, you're going to ask for validation that it's being done in the right way over and over and over again until you feel confident. And that's really how this whole coaching process works. But after you feel confident, you will be able to do it on your own. And that's what I love about working with these clients is that they're really inquisitive and curious and they want to learn, and they do it in a way where they put in the reps. They really do. And then when they're ready, they go and they're fucking successful after they work with me. My client, Krista, man, whenever I see her, we haven't worked together in 2.5, 3 years, maybe. Let's see. Was it 26? That was 23. Yeah. So maybe 2 years. She looks amazing. And my client, Sarah, she just messaged me this weekend. She's like, every thought that I have, I just go through what you and I talked about. It's fucking awesome, right? Discipline is not the answer. The answer is a model that is designed to handle your life and your schedule. So let's talk about what does work. I want to walk through 4 shifts that I would use with my executive clients. Now, these aren't tactics. These are reframes about how we can build wellness into your life rather than you building your life around wellness, right? Because a lot of programs are like, you figure out how to fit this into your life. Where I want to say, like, let's look at your life and build the wellness program or routine. We'll call it the recovery plan, actually, around what your reality is. So the first shift is from program to integration. Now, I want to say something, and this is where I preface this in the beginning. For some of my clients, y'all, they have a chef, they have an assistant, they have a house manager, they have a driver, they have most of them don't have trainers. I am their trainer, but they might have someone that helps them with workouts like in a facility. Like one of my doctors, there's actually like a trainer in the gym at the hospital, and she can like ask her questions and stuff. Not all of them have all 5. Some of them just have an assistant. Some of them have a driver and assistant. So this sounds bougie as fuck, but this is reality for a lot of people I work with. Okay. And it's fun. Like it gives you a little insight to like this world out there that maybe not all of us get access to yet, but we can, right? So a lot of what I do has been integrating into the systems and teams that you already have in your life. So like I said, your assistant, your chef, your travel team, your house manager. Wellness is not going to happen because you're on it. Because let's face it, you have this team of people around you to make decisions for you, right? If you're on it, we've already lost, because if you're tired, if you're jet lagged, you're in back-to-back meetings, you're never going to be on it. You're never going to be on it. So we don't want to build a system around that. We don't want to build a system around you depending on you, right? So we build a system around who can delegate to get things to where we need to be, right? So one thing that I do in my new concierge executive health coaching is we're going to help you, whether it's myself or your assistant, walk into your hotel room and you have everything you need, right? Your first class meals or business class meals are already pre-ordered for you, because what ends up happening when we don't pre-order our meals is that we get stuck with option A or option B, because we might be 4 rows back and everyone's taken the healthy option, right? So now you're stuck with, chicken Parmesan. We're going to already have workouts designed based on where you're staying, whether that's your house in, and I know this is bougie as fuck, your house on the shore, your house in Manhattan, or if you're flying. Again, these are my clients. This is fun to talk about, but I know I just want to be sensitive that this is not available to everyone. I don't want to sound tone deaf, especially with the way the world is right now, but we're going to continue the conversation. So the grocery shopping list has already been sent to your chef with the macros, whatever those plans look like. Like, you don't have to be in charge. Your system is in place. It's kind of like building a system around your business and how your business is going to be successful. You have people in place to execute the various items and tasks and departments of your business. We do that with your health, and that is incredibly important. The second shift is from consistency to capacity. Now, I love consistency. I think it should be a goal. However, not everyone is privy to the same workout, the same time, every day type of schedule. Some weeks, my executives can go full capacity. Okay, so for example, I have a client who just came back from San Diego, and she will be at home for the next 2 weeks, and then she'll have another trip. So for the next 2 weeks, we can go full capacity. This is where she's prepping her own food, or, for this particular client, she doesn't have a personal chef. So she's prepping her own food. She's making foods. She can do the harder workouts. She can increase her steps. She's obviously sleeping better, so she has more energy. So this would be a full capacity week for her, right? You're at home, you're sleeping well, you're recovering beautifully, but other weeks you're crossing 6 time zones. So a second client, he just got back. He was in Vegas last week for 4 days, got home on Monday, was home until Sunday last night. He'll go to Los Angeles. He'll fly back to New York City. Then I believe on Monday, he flies out to Hong Kong, right? So he went from New York to Vegas to New York to LA to New York to Hong Kong, right? And let's just face it, your nervous system will be fried with that schedule if you do not take care of yourself. Pushing through or trying to stay consistent with a plan is going to feel like failure. You will feel failure, okay? So not only will we feel failure, this is where if we push through to try to be consistent with this one-size-fits-all plan, this is where injury can set in, and depletion and resentment. This is why so many of my clients who probably within a month and a half, and they realize oh, my coaching is different. I'm meeting them where they're at. They're like, Christina, I'm fucking exhausted of tracking. I don't want to track food. They think they want to track food coming in because that's what they've been taught is the only way to lose weight or be healthy. And I'm like, no, we can do tracking in a MyFitnessPal specifically. No, we can do other things. There are plenty of things that we can do, and I have those resources for them. So on top of that, sometimes they can even be on a trip and for example, my husband travels for work, and the Hilton in Columbus, which is connected to the convention center, has a full-blown barbell setup. So I know when he's there, he can do the programming that I have for him here at our house because we have a gym here at our house. But sometimes it's asking for the yoga mat, or if you work with me, that yoga mat's already in your room set up for you to do some light stretching or maybe some body weight work, right? Other times it's just walking as much as we can, or honestly, for the client that I told you that went back and forth, for those first 3 days, I tell him let's just get recalibrated and get back on a time zone that works for us. And we just focus on rest and recovery. All of it counts, and none of it is failure. The third shift is from willpower to defaults. This is so important. Again, your decision-making bandwidth is your most expensive resource. This is what makes you so successful. And again, our common day wellness plan depends on you making the right call in a moment that normally you don't have the bandwidth for. So we're going to make the worst decision, right? Those moments usually happen at the worst time, right? So the plane is delayed, you're running late for the meeting, the dinner lasted 2 hours, and you're supposed to make all these decisions, and you're like, fuck, you're stressed out. And in these moments, we don't need more willpower. We don't need that at all. What we need is defaults. What gets ordered when you land? Or what's already in your hotel room? What's already in the gym or provided you in your room so that you can get some movement in? What we already have, your in-room dining breakfast decided for you. Your, as I said, in-flight meals already decided for you. Everything is done, so when you're tired and your bandwidth is gone, the right choice is the easy choice because it's already there. I know. I'm so excited about this portion of the program because, again, I made this program manifested itself because the more I work with these clients, the more I learn. And these defaults that I'm talking about make their lives so much easier, but also they're learning, right? They're learning, oh, if I can have this done, because eventually I'm going to move out, right? I work with these clients for a year, and then I'm going to move out of the way, and then their team takes over, right? And so it becomes very easy for them. The fourth shift is the one that most people don't see coming. And that's from solo to team, as I'd already mentioned. The single most powerful intervention for the high performing person isn't the new diet, isn't the new workout plan, it's not a new supplement stack. It's getting your team aligned. Because here's the truth. Your team is either making you healthier or making you worse, right? But they're not making you neutral. The assistant who books a punishing calendar is making things worse. So I come in and help your assistant learn to create pockets of breath for you, right? I come in and I love working with personal chefs. They are the absolute best. They're very open and interested in learning about nutrition, especially for the clients, right? These people care about their clients. I'm never going to tell them how to do their job. I'm just going to provide them with the data. These are the macros, answer any questions they have, and the client gets what they need. Right? If we are working with a trainer and they're not adjusting your workouts based on your travel, that's making it worse. So I come in and say, hey, let's, work together so that we can make sure that this individual has something for them. And I'll say some trainers will have we have an on-demand program that has in-room workouts. It has some body weight and bands. It has 20-minute time crunch. But for my concierge clients, that's custom. It's not just an on-demand option. And when we have your team in place, your health will change overnight, not because you, again, got more disciplined, but because your system and your environment is finally starting to support your health and your recovery. And that is so important. So that is how we make a difference. But I want to take a beat here and I want to talk about something that gets lost in a lot of the conversations about health and wellness and high performers. Your schedule, my dear, is not getting less demanding. And if you're listening to this and you're a senior leader, a founder, or an executive, you have built something amazing. You are not here by accident. And the thing you built has gravity. Listen to me. It pulls on your time. It pulls on your attention. It pulls on your body. It pulls on your emotions. It pulls on your life. And the higher you climb, the more it pulls. So the question isn't, how do I survive this season? I hear that all the time. The question is, what kind of leader, parent, partner do I want to be 10 years from now? I had a conversation with someone who is really focused on hitting a certain financial goal in their business. And as I'm talking to this individual, I'm hearing how that is the main objective, and then also hearing how it's affecting other areas of this person's life, physically, relationally, and emotionally. And I wanted to ask the question, what are you willing to sacrifice to hit this goal? And it was really sad to watch because this person was there, as Sal DiStefano said, their order of importance was disordered, and it showed in their health. It showed in how they take care of themselves, right? So again, what kind of leader, parent, partner, or human do I want to be in 10 years? And what does my body need from me now to make that possible? For that individual, it's really about shifting. We can get to that financial goal, but again, it's going to be at the expense of us. So once we get there, we're just using all that money to take care of our health because now it's in the dumps. Whereas for individuals who are listening to this, how can I start now? How can I build something now? So 10 years from now, I know I'm still going to be climbing and I'm going to be a better version of myself in all these other areas. Because I see this pattern. I've watched this for 15 plus years where high performers, right, who have this idea, I'll handle that later. I'll deal with that later. The ones who powered through. They're the ones who look at themselves and wish they had rested. They look at themselves and they're like, shit, now I have this autoimmune issue. I have this diagnosis, right? And they wish they would have made that change. And I'm not telling you guys this to scare you. I'm telling you because I want you to take your future seriously, right? You have the resources. These clients have the resources. You have the team. You have the awareness to be listening to this podcast. So I know that you're smart. This is where we need to start, right? This is not a small thing. It's not just getting through this season. It is creating a foundation of health, learning it today, learning it now while you still have the resources to do it, and then implementing it and wash, rinsing, and repeat, because it's all built on adapting and flexibility and meeting you where you're at. So if you believed for years that you were the problem because of your crazy schedule and life, and you thought I just wasn't disciplined enough, I know what to do, but I can't seem to do it, or I don't know why I'm not seeing results, I'm not focused enough or committed enough, I want you to consider that that is so far from the truth, because you've been measuring yourself against a model that wasn't built for you. It wasn't built for you. Coming back to my client, Krista, I mean, the model that she built for herself, once we learned this, was incredible. I mean, she had her team bringing adjustable dumbbells to her hotel room. This is before I offered this concierge service, but I learned from her, like, these are real things that we could do, that she's like, once they're there, I'm going to work out, right? And she did. It's crazy. So again, the version of wellness that works for the executive life, the leader role, it looks different. It's integrated into your team. It's creating those defaults instead of willpower, and it matches the capacity of your demanding schedule. Okay? It serves the long game. And that is so important, because here's the facts. Your recovery and your health are not something that you focus on once you collapse. Your recovery and health are why you do not collapse. They are why you're a better leader. They're why you show up better. They're why you're more successful in all areas of your life. And this version exists. It's available to you. And it might be the missing piece of what you've been looking for without knowing that it had a name. So with that said, I want to introduce the Concierge Wellness Program. We haven't really worked on the name yet, but as I told you guys, I'm moving to a different business model. And it's this. It's taking 12 executive clients that have busy schedules, clients who are really looking to up their wellness. And it's a done-for-you coaching program that meets you at every step of your life. This program includes meeting with your team, kind of being the quarterback to your health, making sure that when you step into a hotel room or into a new restaurant, a new hotel, whatever that looks like, everything is done. Everything is there for you. The defaults are there. But also helping you understand how your life, your circumstances, your environment, how we can make them work for you. This concierge level of coaching includes a quarterly in-person meeting with me. It'll include access to life coaching to help with stress and emotional management, because that's probably one of the most important areas of work that I do with these clients, is to have someone there who can not only help them with their physical health, but help you with your mental health. And again, coordinating so that the flights, the meetings, the deadlines, all of that, you have a plan, you have a default, and we make it work for you, but also so that you and your team eventually can take what I've created and put it into practice. This new style of coaching is by application only, and I will only be taking 12 clients per year. Now, if you're a current client, you'll be like, what's going to happen to me? Don't worry. Like my executive client, Kelsey, is doing this month. I'm going to be interviewing her for this show. She's graduated, right? She graduated the program, and I feel very confident because she has maintained what we've been doing for 2 years. She maintained, I think it's about 30 pounds of weight loss, but she is very involved in her community in Detroit. She has had issues with, scheduling and travel for work and travel for fun. She's a fun gal. She goes to the Michigan football games. She is at the Detroit Lions game. Like, she is in it. She is in her environment. I didn't even talk about that part of it. I was just talking about the work aspect of it. There is also the social aspect of it, because let's face it, when you're this level of vocation, you're also involved. People want you at their table bidding. I was just at a gala this weekend and they wanted us at the table. They want us to bid on the items, the auction items. They want us to give money, right? And so you get invited to a lot of things. And again, we're incorporating all of this in, right? I have a husband and wife team that I work with. And for them, number one, they work in different areas. For her, she has her approach. For him, he has his approach. And, it's so interesting because their son is getting married. And for her, her goal is to look amazing at her son's wedding. But I'm not even shitting you guys. The wedding is 6 weeks from now. And I think the wedding is 8 weeks from now. And I think she's home 20 days out of I think 20, maybe less than that. And we're going to create a protocol around that. We're, again, create a protocol around her needs and his needs. And they live in the same house, but their protocols are different. So I'm so excited. If you're interested in this or you would like to share this information, please share it with individuals who you think would be interested in doing this style of work. I honestly believe that this is how we help more people. That's my goal, is to help as many people as possible. You might be thinking, but you're only helping 12 clients. Well, the way I see it is this: when we create healthy leaders who are taking care of their mental health, their physical health, their emotional health, that ultimately helps to impact the people underneath them. It's when we have leaders who are burnt out, who are overwhelmed, who are stressed beyond belief, that people get hurt. And we don't like where we work and we don't feel supported. One of my favorite books is by Brene Brown, Dare to Lead. It's a beautiful book in how to be an amazing leader. Also, even the work with Dr. Kyra Bobinet and the behavioral change aspect of things. She talks about how being the 5% and being a leader who works in iteration and that 5% behavioral change is a better leader. So what this is going to do is also offer up more time for me to do speaking events, obviously focus on this podcast. And I'm really excited about it, you guys. So if you could share this with your folks, that would be amazing. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are listening between your ears, hit that follow button wherever you're listening to me. And if you love this information, I love a 5-star rating or review. Now, we had someone review us and gave us a negative review because they didn't have a partner. If you are listening to this, like, well, I don't have a chef, please don't give me a 1-star review. Just don't review us. We talk to different types of people throughout this. We talk to moms. I'm not a mom. I don't get myself a 1-star review because I am not a mom. So I just ask, just realize, I do this work. I offer this information at no cost to you. Those reviews mean a lot to this business or podcast, because I can't call it a business. So just wanted to say that. Anyways, I'm going to leave you the same way I do every single week. And that is reminding you that what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Bye-bye.